Ohu o ahui ka le ohi alaka la au pua ulahi kina ke a komahana. Komo ta ohu I ka hana komo apana hana ta ohu e ho ohu I te ala ohi a. Ohu kani ohi avehi wa noho tuahi. Aloha e. Aloha. I'm Sam Ohu Gon, and I am the Senior Scientist and Cultural Advisor for the Nature Conservancy in Hawaii. I'm also a kumuoli, that is, a teacher of Hawaiian chant and ceremony. Today on Earth Day, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the strong relationship between culture and conservation in a place as rich and remarkable both biologically and culturally as the islands of Hawaii are. I'm standing in front of a very special Hawaiian tree called Ohi Alehua. This tree is the backbone of native wet forests here, perhaps the most common native Hawaiian tree in these islands. But because it's endemic to the Hawaiian Islands, restricted to this archipelago, it means that at the global level, it's not common at all. You cannot find this species of tree anywhere else in the world but Hawaii. In fact, 90% of the native plants in Hawaii are only found in Hawaii, and that makes them very special indeed. To hydrologists, the Ohi Alehua, being the dominant canopy tree, is therefore the most important for watershed function, protecting the land from erosion during heavy rains, allowing the water to trickle into the mosses and ferns beneath, and then into the underground aquifers, the groundwater that feeds our wells and springs, and supports all life in these islands. In fact, the dense foliage of ohia can even draw water from passing clouds that are not raining, so that perhaps half of the water that the forest gathers is not from rain at all. That is why there's an ancient Hawaiian saying, "Hahai taua I ka ulu la'au," the rain follows the forest. To ecologists, the Ohi Alehua is a keystone species, one on which so many of the living interactions of the ecosystem depends. The nectar of the blossoms are the main source of food for our endemic honey creepers, birds, also found only in Hawaii. The tree is also home to hundreds of species of native Hawaiian invertebrates, insects, spiders, snails of all kinds, and nearly all of them are found nowhere else on Earth but Hawaii. To our native Hawaiian ancestors, the indigenous Polynesian people of these islands, this was one of the most important trees, providing wood for fire, wood for tools and weapons, wood for the main structural support of houses, and even the wood upon which food was prepared. But aside from material or practical needs, the beauty of the ohia tree and its brilliant flowers, the dominance of the tree and the strength of its wood are reflected in the spiritual and intellectual foundations of our culture. Indeed, the tree is part of our identity. It defines Hawaii, the land, and native Hawaiians, the people of the land. The bright red flowers of the Ohi Alehua are the symbol of Pele, our goddess of volcanoes, whose red volcanic fires are reflected in the flowers of brilliant color. The red of the lehua blossoms also evoke the blood of warfare, and so the tree is a symbol of another of the major Hawaiian gods, named Ku, god of warriors and rulers. The strength of the tree, its upright nature, reflect the strength of a great leader. So, in Hawaii, conservation is not only a matter for ecologists and environmentalists. It's a major part of the perpetuation of native Hawaiian culture. This melding of culture and conservation is called biocultural conservation, and it means that environmental care and social care are one. Conservation in Hawaii is a vital part of both environmental and social justice, and caring for our native species and ecosystems helps ensure that our identity as Hawaiian people endures for generations to come. Mahalo.